Welcome, everybody, to the Pro Wrestling Perspectives podcast. I am your host, John Alford. I am here with Chase Whitner and Chance Whitner. We have someone out tonight. I'm trying to hide you from the broadcast. For some reason, it's stuck on you, Chase. Say something, Chase. Say something, Chase.
The Alabama National Championships in the background.
Say something,
right,
Chance.
babe.
I mean, Chase. Gosh, I don't know why it's
16
doing
time.
Oh,
16-time national champs.
Oh, 17.
Say it right when you say it. No. 16.
All right, say something, Chase.
I'm talking the whole time right here, John. I've been talking the whole time.
For some reason, I got to do it manually now. That's fine. Okay, everybody. Like I said, welcome to the Pro Wrestling Perspectives podcast. This is episode 2, and we encourage you to go to our YouTube page, Pro Wrestling Perspectives. Check out episode 1. You'll find it there. Welcome, and we're glad that you've joined us for episode 2. I want to introduce to you, I guess we'll start with myself. My name is John Alford, and I'm a hardcore wrestling fan. Not so much this week, I have to say. Work's been a little bit challenging this week, and so I DVR'd both shows, went through the motions with both of them, and I could probably say this is more of an indication of the show, hopefully, than myself, because I think there were some things lacking in both. First, I want to introduce to you Chase Whitner. He is affectionately known as the face. He's the face that runs the place. What's going on, Chase?
Babe. What's going on, man? Glad to be here, as usual. I'm hoping I can fill some big boots this week because I'm going to be out next week. Got a little Disney trip planned, and I hate that I'm going to miss it, but you know the show must go on.
Hey, I mean, and everybody wants to have breakfast with the princesses, so we all know where you're coming from, man.
Yep.
Hey, everybody, this is Chance. He is the author of 14 New York Times bestsellers, including his most recent book, The Lost Tooth, or actually it's The Forgotten Tooth, Why I Quit Believing in the Tooth Fairy. How are you doing, Chance?
Hey, guys. Doing good tonight. How y'all doing out there?
Good.
I'm glad to have you guys joining us on this show. All right, so what are we talking about? We're talking about Raw and Smackdown from this week. That's our goal for every show. Now, if there is a pay-per-view, we'll talk about predictions before the pay-per-view on the Thursday preceding the Sunday. And then if it's after, we'll kind of recap how well we predicted that what was going on and how we felt about the show. But for today, because we're in between pay-per-views, we have Elimination Chamber coming up in a couple of weeks. We'll focus on Raw and SmackDown. Now that we got that out the way, I want to talk about bet stipulations. If you listen to our podcast from last week, you remember that we were discussing our bet stipulations from Royal Rumble. We left in a tie. We had about 4 or 5 things that we had to get right, and we all got something on there right. We wound up with 4 for everybody. So we're going to come up with a bet stipulation to end this. And our goal, our bet stipulation is to go with Heath Slater's entrant number. The reason why we're going to this is because none of us have a clue when this actually happened. And we'll get with Chad. Chad is out this week. He's doing some traveling, I'm assuming, for work. And he'll be back on the show.
I think he's filming a movie, I think. He's doing a short film.
Mm-hmm. Independent film, black and white probably. So Heath Slater, and our goal is to pick the entrant number. Whoever's furthest away is going to be fixing supper for the rest of us at Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. And hopefully we can do something. Go ahead, Chance.
So this is not the number that he walked out to, but the number that he actually got in the ring.
No, that's too difficult to – I mean, we're going to have to track the show as opposed to just looking online for
so this is
that information.
Just the number that
his actual that he came out to.
I got you.
What number did his music play? And he walked out. I'm going to say 8, John.
Okay, you are saying 8. Chance,
Yep.
how about you, sir?
I'm going 6.
And I'm going to go with 10, so we can all we'll probably all be close, and I'm probably going over, but that's fine. Also, you guys out there, not sure why, but this thing is making me click on the pictures. You guys who are out there, if you would like to be on our show, you have a particular opinion on wrestling that you want to share with us, I encourage you to email the show at prowrestlingperspectives@gmail.com. That's prowrestlingperspectives@gmail.com. If you have an opinion about the show that you'd like to share with us, please do so. We encourage you to like and subscribe because we want this to grow. That's our goal. Number one goal is just to have fun and enjoy talking about wrestling. But if you look down there, you'll see 0 viewers, and we want that to increase. So please like and subscribe because we know that there are some closet wrestling fans out there who are dying to talk about their opinion. So stick with us, like and subscribe and share on Facebook. Hey, we're not embarrassed to tell people we watch wrestling. If anybody ever gives you grief for watching wrestling and saying that it's fake, you can tell them that Game of Thrones and Breaking Bad and Walking Dead are all fake too, and they're all TV shows. And what we watch is a TV show. We realize that it is fake, it's scripted, and we still enjoy it. Okay, now that we got that out the way, I want to ask you guys for your overall reflections from this week of WWE. That would include Raw and SmackDown. When you look at the big picture, what's your opinion of how things shook out this week? How about Chance? We start with you, sir.
I actually enjoyed it. I actually watched a little more this week than I did last week. We recently switched to Netflix and Hulu has it to where I can go watch it at any time. So that's nice. But I think that I like the direction that they went with the you don't call them players. What do you call them?
Wrestlers.
With the wrestlers. Okay.
WWE calls them superstars, and I hate that term. They're professional wrestlers. You call them what you want.
I like the direction they went with a lot of them. I like the matches. I liked who won them, the way they did it. There wasn't a whole lot of gimmicky stuff this week, which I like. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Thought it was really good. Thought it was better. I thought SmackDown did better this week than they did last week. Even though I didn't really watch it much last week, just the feel of it this week was a little better. But I think Raw was a little better last week. But overall, I like this week better.
Okay, Chase, your opinions of the week of wrestling.
It's tough, John. It's a tough call, man. Raw to me, I love Raw. It's my favorite. As much as I wanted to pull for SmackDown when they branched off live, but it's kind of, they need something. They need a different direction. They need something. It's kind of stagnant right now.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I think they're doing pretty good. I mean, I like some things that SmackDown did, not as much as what Raw is doing, but I think they're both turning. And I'm curious to see how it's going to go in the future since I hear Triple H is going to take over more control of the company since Vince is going XFL.
Yeah.
So,
well, you guys don't.
I do want to build on something we talked about last week. When I was watching SmackDown, I recorded how many times they said the word opportunity. The first, I went for 6 minutes, and they said it 10 times in 6 minutes. So it's a little bit overkill in the first 6 minutes of the first 6 minutes.
Unreal.
Good observation there.
Good job doing your homework there, Chance. Well, speaking on the just real quick on the Triple H thing that you just brought up, Chase. I know you guys don't watch it. Maybe Chase, I don't know, because he's got the WWE Network, and there's a show called NXT on there, and his fingerprints are all over that show, and it's so good. There are a lot of things that help NXT out that the Raw and SmackDown show can't do. For example, they're an hour a week. So when this an hour a week, you can limit the amount of times that your guys get exposed. They're special.
Yep.
So you might have a whole month's show and you never see that one guy you want to see. But when you get to
and
the
it makes you
NXT,
tune in. It makes you tune in every week because you want to see a certain wrestler. And if you don't, you're like, oh, and you get bummed out. But on Raw and SmackDown, they're beating dead horses every week. So it's just kind of hard to. I get what you're saying on NXT. I have noticed that. I don't watch it near as much as you do, but when I do watch it, you're like, man, where's so and so at? Or is he even there anymore? And then the next time you see him, or the NXT takeovers, you'll see him, and then it's kind of, I think that's why they get such a big buzz when they come in to the main roster, is because people are excited about being able to see them more. So
very true. And I think NXT crowds, they're a little bit more hardcore than the others. For some reason, when they have a weekend like Royal Rumble, they'll have an NXT show there. So you assume that the same people who buy tickets to NXT, the same people who buy tickets to the Royal Rumble. It may not work out that way, but to me, they're the closest thing to like the old style of wrestling where every wrestler is truly appreciated. If you watch a show of Raw or SmackDown and you get to a certain match, I find myself doing it. What reason do I have to care for Dash and Dawson? But when they're on NXT, I loved them. I mean, they were like hardcore wrestlers.
You talking about Revival?
What did I say? Yeah, that's what I'm talking.
Yeah, I think that's who you're talking about.
Yeah, Revival. I promise you, they were unique and good and talented because they didn't have to do all the crap that you have to do on WWE programming. But getting back to SmackDown and Raw and what I think about them for this week. Raw, even when it is just a bad week, it feels a little more special than SmackDown, and a lot of that has to do with the talent that's on that show and who's being emphasized. I think you talked about it, or somebody talked about this last week. You only see Kurt Angle to come out and make matches.
Yeah.
Now they have 3 hours to kind of flesh out their thoughts. And Monday Night Raw is kind of like Monday Night Football. It's a foundation, an institution for us. SmackDown does not have that kind of history. But overall, I think this week especially, Raw was just a better show. And when they first made the SmackDown Live move, I would have told you every week SmackDown Live was killing them. But
I remember you saying that back when they first split off. I remember you always were like, man, SmackDown is way better.
Baron Corbin was getting booed, but you felt like this is the guy that's going to be the next guy. He's going to be the guy that's going to be big. And now I don't feel that way. A lot of it has to do with like the storyline and booking, but we'll get into more details of that later on. Let's move to Raw recap and analysis. Got several things I want to ask you guys about. Before I do that, Chance, can you kind of give us a heads up on what of the show of Raw, what did you watch this week so I can kind of frame my questions in a certain way for you?
Did you say Chase or Chance?
Chance.
I watched a little. I watched it like as I was driving a lot. So I watched Reigns and Bray. I watched Bailey and Asuka.
Asuka.
Asuka. Sorry.
Only correct you there because she's my favorite wrestler. I'd let it slide.
I'll get it right eventually. And I watched the Bar and Rollins Reigns, and I think that was it.
What'd you think?
All right.
If you don't mind me breaking in,
I watched some highlights of the main event.
What did you think about the Reigns Rollins in the Bar match?
Me?
Chance. Go ahead, Chance.
Either one.
What do you mean? Like, did I like that they were to get back together? Did I think the match was good? What?
Yeah, did you like that they were back together?
I mean, I did. I liked seeing, good wrestlers wrestle together. I mean, it's fun to watch. It's entertaining.
Yeah.
I thought the match was really good. I mean, those are 4 really good wrestlers wrestling in a tag team match.
What about you, John?
Well, I don't like the direction Seth Rollins is going right now. We talked about it last week. He's probably better off as like the cowardly heel, even though I didn't really care for it when it's happening. But it's kind of one of those things you don't know what you got until it's gone. I like this team up, but it's hard to get really invested in it when you know that it was Seth and Dean, and you're like, okay, this is pretty cool. Then Dean gets hurt, and then Jordan shows up, and you're like, wow, okay, this guy in this situation is kind of cool. I'm seeing stuff from Seth that I haven't seen before, and it's interesting. Yeah. Then he gets hurt, and he's going to have some type of neck surgery. We'll get into it later on. He might have already had it. But Reigns and Seth Rollins, for this particular time and space, like this for this show, I liked seeing them together.
Yeah,
but doing it long term, what are you going to do? Because you know where Roman Reigns is heading. He's not going to be a tag team partner of Seth Rollins. What do you think, Chase?
I don't know. I think he might be. To be honest with you, John, I think they're. I don't know what they want to do with Reigns. I mean, I know what they want to do, but I don't think the people are. The WWE universe isn't digging it. So I wouldn't mind seeing him as a tag team partner, depending on how long Ambrose is going to be out.
Yeah.
What is Ambrose out with?
Shoulder, I think. I'm not really sure.
I heard it was like 9 months.
Yeah. But what you got? That's something we'll talk about here in a second. These injuries, it's insane. But right. Think long term. This is the time of the year where we talk about WrestleMania. So I think Roman Reigns, from what all I hear, he's on a direct course toward WrestleMania and fighting Brock Lesnar. So this might be good in the meantime, but you know he's going to be in Elimination Chamber, and so
he's already in Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, I know he's likely to win that. So maybe like these next few weeks of Monday Night Raw, he'll be on the team with them, but he's going to be a major spotlight. They have to build him after losing to Miz like 2 or 3 weeks in a row.
That's my thing. That's what I'm saying. You lose to Miz 2 or 3 weeks in a row. How are you getting title shots, brother?
Yeah.
How are you winning the Elimination Chamber after losing to Miz twice?
Because you're Roman Reigns, and you're the guy that they're pushing at the time.
Good joke, man. I mean, nothing against Roman Reigns. I love him. I think they're killing him. I think they're wearing him out. Every single week it's Roman Reigns something, and I think they need to protect him more than use him to build that character.
Like they don't have enough talent on that show to where they can do without him for a week. You know,
they do though, Chance.
I know that's what I'm saying.
They do. They don't
like they don't. They have the talent to where they don't have to do that. So I don't know why they
just got to use them. They got to use who they have and spread the wealth, because Roman Reigns is already not liked. So if you want to have any hope in liking him, if you don't want to turn him heel and then go through the Rock road, if you don't want to do that, then you got to make this guy feel special. And I think what they feel like is they're gonna, if he wrestles enough good matches, that the fans are eventually going to turn. That's not how they're going to do it, because every match he's been in has been good.
Right.
All right. So let me ask you a question. Let me give you a hypothetical then, John. Say he wins Elimination Chamber. So that means he fights Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
What happens if he beats Brock Lesnar?
Okay, for 3 years, this will be the third year they've tried to make this happen. And he's your champion, and he's going to have the belt for a long time. I think this is probably Brock Lesnar's final year, because every year he's lost a little bit of his luster, in my opinion.
Yep.
And now I don't have the same feel for Brock Lesnar that I once did. Now, if he goes back to MMA, and everything worked out on that end and he gets to fight, I'll definitely be invested in that and interested. But from this perspective, from the wrestling perspective,
he's not fighting. Yep.
He's
not fighting enough.
I don't have the same vibe from him. He's out of my mind every single week. Every now and then they'll say his name and it'll be like, oh yeah, I remember him. But for the most part, he's out of the picture.
I know it used to be like whenever he was on a show, it was a big deal. You're like, wow, I get to see Brock Lesnar. Mm-hmm. And now it's like, what is he going to do? He's going to come out there and stand there, and Paul Heyman's going to talk for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So I do see that part where they're taking Reigns to win the Elimination Chamber and going to beat Brock Lesnar, and then they could start a storyline back again with Braun, because that was a great storyline. that him and Braun did
Oh,
those
great matches.
2 months, and it was awesome. So I could see that.
I would say
So back on.
in the ring, Roman Reigns is probably the MVP of WWE for a while now. His matches are great. Every pay-per-view they're great. Let's start off with Raw, and we'll go through each segment. And me and Chase will probably talk about this a lot of times. If you have something that you want to add, Chance, just speak up and we'll pause. Because I don't. There's certain parts that you watched, including this opening one. We opened with Bray Wyatt talking about the Elimination Chamber. Completely tuned him out. It's the same junk he says every single time he wrestles somebody. Roman Reigns, you're not who you say you are. And then Matt Hardy's not who he says he is. Dean Ambrose isn't who he says he is. And you know what? After they fight, it's the same person they said they were before. But that's just a tangent right there. Kick off with Bray Wyatt talking about the Elimination Chamber and how he won the WWE Championship in the match last year. That's so far from what's happening.
It's like,
it seems like it's
wow,
10 years
happened?
ago.
Yeah.
Like 10 years ago. And he's ready to repeat this feat again this year. So this is an opening match between Roman Reigns and Bray Wyatt. And they're doing promos like this. This is why I'm going to win tonight's match. And because WWE doesn't do this a whole lot, at first it's kind of like, why are you making eye contact with me? Because most of the time the wrestlers don't. But this one, they're like,
yeah.
And so it's a weird.
It's like, are they talking? Are they saying, who's he talking to? Is he talking to me? Is he talking to Bray?
Mm-hmm. So Roman Reigns comes on there, and he does a very similar thing in the sense that he's cutting a promo about how he isn't a failure because even though he gets knocked down, he gets back up, and that his journey to WrestleMania starts tonight, and not Wyatt, the Elimination Chamber, or Brock can stop him from becoming Universal Champion.
He kind of took a page out of Cena's book with that whole speech he gave about not giving up.
Yep.
Knocking down.
Now, here's the deal with Roman Reigns for me. I've just accepted him, and I'm going to try to forget or try to block out the things that I don't like about him. He's an incredible competitor. This is the guy that they want to be the leader or the face of WWE now that Cena's obviously, going, he's eventually going to be done. So I'm accepting him. He does enough to where you can justify getting behind this guy. And this match is not bad. It's back and forth. I don't like.
It's a good match.
I don't like Reigns kicking out of the Sister Abigail. I think some things should be protected. And if you're not going to beat somebody, then don't do your finisher. But that's just my opinion on it. Chase, how did you feel about this match, the result, and how this is leading toward Elimination Chamber?
Well, you knew the result before the match even started. You knew he was going to win. I thought it was a good match. It was a good power struggle match. You got two big dudes. So Reigns had to kind of, figure out a different way how to beat him. Because normally, it's just, spears and Superman punches, but he kind of did a little bit more in this match, which I liked to see him do that. Again, like what you said with the Sister Abigail, I don't like people kicking out of finishers, especially for certain finishers. There are some people that get kick out of certain finishers, but like his was nobody kicks out of Sister Abigail. That's just it. But I thought it was a good match. I liked it. I enjoyed it.
I'm with you on the finishers. Need to be. I like when finishers meant they were done when you landed that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Roman Reigns has been known to be a bull to pin, so it takes a lot to put him down, and they've shown that time and time again. So it's not a surprise really that it happened, but more or less just we like to see finishers finish people. Yeah.
Well, Chance, from the casual fans' perspective, when you look at a guy like Bray Wyatt, what he says he is and what you see actually come out there and perform, what's your opinion on him as a character on the show?
I don't know. I feel like he's kind of like he's supposed to be dark, but at the same time he laughs a lot. I mean, he has laugh offs.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like either be dark or be like Mankind.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Well,
weirdo.
that's a good analogy, Chance, because he kind of is like Mankind. He doesn't care if he wins or loses. He's just out there. He's just wrestling. So that's a good analogy.
Yeah, he's kind of like him, but like I feel like in the beginning they were portraying him as a darker, and now they're kind of making him more like Mankindish.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I'm taking or leaving.
Good take. What I'm going to say about this match and every high, like sometimes you have matches that are just low level, and you hear people talking about the announcers talking about what's happening later on. But this is a match where the announcers are focused in on it. Really, this happened on SmackDown on this show. I can't stand when a guy does one of his moves. It's not a finisher, like for instance the Superman punch or that clothesline that Reigns does, and then he goes for the pin, and it's like, oh, I'm shocked that the thing that I do every single time that does not pin somebody, what in the world? And the announcer's like, what does he have to do to beat Bray Wyatt? Oh, I don't know. Maybe do the spear.
Especially if he does it one time.
Yeah.
You know, I get it if you were to Superman punch him or spear him 2 or 3 times, like in good succession. But like if you didn't do it at all and then you do it one time, it's like, you know, it takes a little bit. That's what I was saying. That match was good because those two guys are power guys.
Yep.
So you can't just do your one move to put these dudes out.
All right.
It's not like you're fighting Vince Balfour.
Yeah. Okay. So after the match, Bray Wyatt's trying to collect himself. Matt Hardy appears behind him and delivers a twist of fate to Wyatt. So it looks like this storyline is continuing. Maybe there will be a match at Elimination Chamber. On the Raw 25th anniversary show, we saw Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy wrestle in like the worst match ever as far as like, well, he just pinned them. So it's like I heard that they had to cut that short and there was more to it. Maybe they'll get to do the match that they want to do then. But you know my feelings on Matt Hardy. It's just so depressing to see him wrestle now. So we'll see how that turns out. And let's move on to the next segment. Jason Jordan is backstage and he meets with Seth, who asks him how he's feeling with all of his injuries since that this is their final chance against the Bar. Jordan says he has been cleared by Kurt, and the doctors say he's 100% ready for tonight. Seth tells him that this just isn't just about either of them. It is about what they can do as a team. So this is foreshadowing. Later on, we'll find out that they're not going to be able to wrestle as a team. Moving on, Scott Dawson has a promo in the ring, and he says that he and Dash are the Revival. They are tag team specialists, and they try to get his match against Finn changed to a tag match. So these are two guys who say that they're really good at being tag team specialists, and they lose to two guys that don't usually tag together.
Ever.
How do you feel about this, Chase? Is this good for the long-term characters of the Revival to say they're one thing and then to lose to two people who aren't tag team specialists?
Well, John, you know me. I like my wrestlers to be, if you're going to call them WWE superstars, they need to look like WWE superstars.
Yes.
These guys, to me, they don't turn the knob either way for me. I hate that Finn had to, go through this. This is something like Gallows and Anderson. That's a Gallows and Anderson fight. I don't know why they put him in on the fight.
Mm-hmm.
I guess to get people to actually watch it. But, I mean, they're good wrestlers. They're really good wrestlers. They're just, I don't know. I could take them or leave them. I really could. They just don't do nothing for me.
Well, first of all,
Revival, that is. I like the club. I like what the club's doing. I like they put them together, and I'm hoping that they do more like NWO type stuff later down the road. But I don't know.
I just want to know what happened to the physique of wrestlers. I'm not saying everybody has to look like Hulk Hogan, but I'll be danged if you're going to be on TV and have a jiggly gut.
Yep.
What in the world is going on? You're telling me that you wrestle, 4 nights out of 7, and when every town you go into, there's a gym, and you can't work on your abs a little bit? I don't understand that. I'm not saying that everybody has to be huge and steroid up.
No,
come on
Ric
now.
Flair wasn't huge and steroided up, but he went and he worked out. He kept his physique right.
Yep, for sure. I'm going to move on to the next segment, Chance, unless you got something to add to this particular thing.
See that match.
Okay, good. Well, the Revival lost. Finn and Anderson won that match, and they were Finn's doing his typical smile. I don't really know what's going on there, but maybe we'll see.
Yeah, no. I mean, he seemed happy though. I don't know if it's just because he was just happy to be doing something and being back with his buddies, but
I think
I don't know what kind of route they're going to go with him.
I think they're mismanaging Finn. I think he could be something. They're mismanaging that.
Okay, moving on. There's a backstage segment between Sasha and Bailey, and it starts off all kinds of bad. Just bad dialogue, the kind of dialogue that most people wouldn't say to each other. Sometimes Sasha doesn't come off as, I don't know. She just sounds weird to me when she starts talking sometimes. Chase, did you watch this particular segment?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, I'm going to get you to go over this right here because I got to step out just for a second. Give us your take on what you see here.
Well, it was extremely awkward the way they were kind of talking to each other, but I think this is the angle that Sasha Banks is trying to go in. I think she's trying to go to this heel side to where she's turning her back on her friends, even though her friend is asking her, or her so-called friend is asking her for some advice to beat Asuka. I think Sasha's kind of, I don't know if I wouldn't say her feelings are hurt, but I think she's kind of upset that, she used to run the place for a year, and then Asuka comes around and starts taking her thunder and, stealing the spotlight from her. So I think it's kind of bothering her. I think that's the angle she's going at right there.
I would think Sasha would want to help Bailey though, because it'd probably be easier for her to beat Bailey than it would be for her to beat Asuka to gain that title back.
Yeah.
Or she ain't even got the title, but you know what I mean.
No, and I think that's kind of how they were going with it. I think they were trying to play Sasha as the heel because, like I said, it's been a year that she used to run the place, and now Asuka all of a sudden is taking the spotlight from her. I don't think she likes it. I don't think she likes it, not just as a character, but as personally. I don't think she likes it.
Well, I think I liked Bailey's last line that you heard in this promo. The rest of it, I could take it or leave it.
Good last line.
Yeah, and you Bailey finally got the reaction that you'd want her to have from the crowd.
Yep.
It's been taking a long time for them to get it there, but we've been at this point with Sasha and Bailey before several times where there's a little tension, and then they just crap on it. They move on to something else. So this is the time that they can actually do something with it. Hopefully get a WrestleMania match between the two because they're really good and they work well together. Bailey tries to get some of Sasha's tips, but she says she is keeping her secrets close to her chest. They talk about how they, like in the Rumble, it was every woman for herself. And the same will happen in the Elimination Chamber. Sasha and Bailey are confident that they can beat Asuka, but Bailey says she could beat Sasha as well. So her thought process: if I can beat you and you think you can beat Asuka, I feel pretty confident I can beat Asuka. Kurt Angle.
It was a good match by Bailey.
Yeah.
I think it was the first time we've seen her get nasty.
Very aggressive.
I think she had to do that. Yep, she had to do that to beat Asuka, or to try to beat Asuka. So I'm hoping that this is a different. That's a good thing about bringing in good talent is it makes you step your game up.
Yep.
So maybe that's what these women are like. All right, we got to really bring it. because she's bringing it every week.
Oh yeah,
Oscar, that is.
and Oscar's a good person to work with. Sometimes they'll bring somebody in and they're good, but they're not good at working with other people, or there's some type of dynamic that changes things. But Oscar's perfect for what we're seeing here. Kurt Angle comes out and he talks about the women's elimination chamber match coming up in 3 weeks. So he's like, "Oh, I got all those lines out. Okay."
Oh man, he
I
butchered
thought
that
he was
whole
like waiting on the
segment.
crowd to finish a sentence for a second.
Yeah.
I know he was flashing back to what?
Yeah, he's
He was
like,
wanting the crowd to what between every word.
it's like line, and then the crowd helped him out. Oh yeah, elimination chamber. Okay. So he comes out and announces all of Alexa's opponents: Bailey, Mandy Rose, Mickey James, Sonya Deville, and Sasha Banks. He says that Nia Jax is not in the chamber match because she is facing Asuka at the pay-per-view, and if she wins, the Mania title match will become a triple threat match. I hope it doesn't happen. I want to see 2 women in the match telling a good story. So, Chase, of these women, Bailey, Mandy Rose, Mickey James, Sonya Deville, and Sasha Banks, which one of these women do you think has the best chance of winning the Elimination Chamber?
I think
You leaving Bliss out?
Bliss is in it, right?
Yeah, but she can't beat herself.
Oh, you mean?
I think she wins it. You try to tell? You want me to figure out a person who can beat her or who can win it besides her?
Okay, yeah. Which one of these has the best chance of beating her?
That's a good question. I don't think Rose does. It's too. She just. No, she ain't got it. It's a good question. I'm gonna say, what's her name? The fighter.
Sonya Deville. Now you know Sasha Banks is in the match, right?
I do know Sasha Banks is in the match, but I think that they're not gonna use her for this just yet. I think they're saving her for something else. I think she might be actually the first person gone.
What if we saw what happened at Royal Rumble? She put Bailey out. What if Bailey returns the favor?
That's a good point, John. That's what I'm going with. I'm thinking Alexa wins the match. Somehow she either is the last person in or just lays out or weasels her way around. I think she wins it. But I think Sasha, like you said, might be the first person out.
Mm-hmm.
Her or Rose. Rose will probably be the first person out, but I think Sasha might be. I think it's a different. They're going a different route with her.
Okay, Alexa comes out and complains this whole Me Too angle of women being treated differently. She says, "Why does she have to defend the title in Elimination Chamber and Brock's doesn't?" Well, it's hard to tell you this, honey, but Brock Lesnar has a contract that says he doesn't have to wrestle but like 2 times a year, and he gets paid $1 million and they show him on the screen kind of stuff. So that's not you. If one day you get to that point, then you'll definitely be in his shoes.
You know, Kurt made a good point that I didn't even notice this, and then which she had a good answer for it too. But I hadn't even paid attention to how much she hasn't been wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even think about that.
You're right. She has zero control over that, and I liked her comeback there too. She has legitimate beef here, and that's what you want. You want heels, the bad guys, to have some truth in what they're saying. You don't want their lines to be so stupid that nobody believes them. And her case, she has a pretty good case of why. You know, I don't think she's saying Brock Lesnar should be in there. She's saying I shouldn't have to be in there. And Kurt's not having any of it.
It's true. It's true. I don't think she should be in there. If we're talking, this is supposed to be a match to go to fight the person who has the belt. Then, you know, Nia and Asuka should be in there, not them having another match for a triple threat match. They should be in there, and then Alexa be sitting out.
Yeah. Chance, you got a take on this?
What do we know?
I mean, I think if anybody beats Bliss, it's going to be Sasha, just because. I mean, she lasted the longest in the Royal Rumble. She almost won the thing after being in there at the very beginning. So I think she's gonna last. I think she'll last a while in the chamber. I don't think she'll go out quick. Just based on that, she's proven to be somebody that'll stick around, kind of like Reigns. He's not gonna go out the very first time. I feel like she's almost like a female version of Reigns, actually. But I'm with Chase. I think Bliss will win. I think Sasha will have the best chance. And I agree. I don't think she should be in there. I'd like to see her and Asuka go at it at WrestleMania. Because didn't Asuka win the Royal Rumble? Isn't she facing either her or Charlotte in WrestleMania?
She can choose. Yeah, she can choose.
Correct.
Yeah. And she's smart. She picks Bliss, so she actually gets one. Or she might want to pick Charlotte and beat the Queen. I don't know. But so whoever wins the Elimination Chamber becomes the champion, right?
No. In that one, in the women's, yeah.
Yeah. So Asuka could be facing Sasha, which I don't know if they want to do a rematch of that for the belt.
That would be great, though. That would be great.
Stay on.
I think you're making up a good point there at the end, Chance, about we've already seen Asuka and Sasha. I would love it, and if you gave them plenty of time, it'd be a pretty interesting match. Right. But I think we're leaning more toward Asuka and Charlotte as kind of like a swerve, so to speak. Like, oh, yeah, she's gonna be fighting whoever, maybe Alexa Bliss or whoever wins that match.
Right. All right. Well, since you brought it up, John, I had this point to make later in the show when we got to SmackDown. I'll tease it. I'll save it for SmackDown talk.
Okay. Good. Next, you have John Cena do his promo. I am refusing. I am boycotting all of the selfie promos. If you have a strong opinion about them, if they were good to you, you could raise your hand right now and feel free to speak. I fast forward through all of them. I hate it too.
I like it.
I hate it. It looks too.
Now, of course, you freaking casual.
The millennial.
I like it because I get to see the players in a different light.
Let's say wrestlers, Chance. I can't handle the word the players.
I don't know why I keep saying that.
John Cena says.
Keep calling them players.
Yeah. John Cena says that to get to WrestleMania, you need a plan and he outlines his plans. He's going to win his qualifier, check, and improve his chances by entering the chamber last by beating Elias and Braun.
I don't really care for the substance of those, but I like the thought process.
Oh, you like just that they're on a cell phone.
I like the thought process behind getting to see them outside the ring a little more. Okay. A little bit of their personality.
Okay. By the way, I'm going to make it a homework that we all have to do a selfie promo for the next week's show and put it on our YouTube page.
Oh, man.
You got to hold like this and be like, next week, when Pro Wrestling Perspective happens.
I'll try to do one.
Okay. We have the bar and doing a promo in the arena that they're going to be wrestling.
Yeah.
That's the best I've seen of these stupid selfie promos. They said they're looking forward to beating Seth and Jason again, just like they did at Royal Rumble. Cena is back on here again and says that we are on the road to WrestleMania, but everyone besides Asuka and Shinsuke have to find their way to the show. He talks about how if he enters the Elimination Chamber, he'll make it to WrestleMania and prove that he isn't done, just getting started. He's a 40-year-old man who hasn't wrestled a whole lot in the last year and a half or 2 years. But guess what, guys? He's just getting started.
Just getting started.
He's got another 40 years in the WWE.
Probably.
Yeah, he probably does.
He's Rick Jr.
Well, before his match with Apollo, the Miz tells everyone to look at the sky tonight because the constellations will look like him with the IC title. He says that 2018 will be the year of the Miz. And if you don't believe him, he defeated Roman Reigns twice within a week because Reigns couldn't compete with the unstoppable Tide that he is.
Oh,
by the way, he
is beating that.
Yeah.
He is beating that horse on that drum. He is beating that drum about beating Reigns.
Yes, and he has a new show coming out, so that's why he feels like he's 2018 hot. There's a part of wrestling fans who believe this is the year he moves up the echelon because he has a show on the E Network, I believe, or maybe USA Network. He's going to be on the spotlight. This is his time to make the jump. Maybe after WrestleMania.
Well, Johnny's already made the jump once, didn't he?
Yes, but
I mean, what happened then?
I don't really know. That was the time that I wasn't watching, and
I really wasn't into it at that time either, so it's kind of hard for me to say. But I like the Miz. I like what they're doing with him. So I hope that he is the first Continental and Universal champion, like he says he's going to be.
I see this happening more so after WrestleMania when they do everything they got to do, and maybe him and Roman Reigns return to what they're doing.
Yeah.
Chance, you got thoughts, or can I move on to the next section next time? Next thing. Okay.
On that.
Cool. All right. Braun says he does one of these stupid selfie promos.
Get my hands.
Yeah, I'm a bad MFer, but I had time to take out my cell phone and do this. Braun says, just like last week, he will be the last man standing in the triple threat match. Same at the Elimination Chamber and at WrestleMania. Backstage, Seth is furious at Jordan because guess what? He can't wrestle now. And in real life, he probably shouldn't be wrestling either because of his injury. Kurt comes by and also yells at Jordan, forcing him to go home. Nice little tension here. Sometimes I feel like I'm very biased towards certain segments, and I feel like I'm just like fickle when it comes to it. I like Jason Jordan. I like what they're doing. But I feel like sometimes if I was in a different mood, I wouldn't like this at all. What do you think, Chase? Do you like the Jason Jordan angle that they're doing with him, even though he can't wrestle?
Yeah. I mean, that's all they can do with him.
Mm.
You know, I don't like Jason Jordan. I don't like the way they're doing. I guess it's a good thing. You know, if you didn't go either way with him, if he was just there, then nobody would care. But I mean, him being the type of character he is on the show, I hate him. So, I mean, not really hate him, but I hate, you know what I mean? So I guess he's doing his job is what I'm saying. Even though I wish they'd do something else with him. I liked him better as Team Alpha, but that's just me.
I think he needs to go home.
Wow, hot take.
Going home.
He needs to go to the house.
Garbage.
Take it to the house.
We'll get back to the injuries that are mounting a little bit.
He reminds me, he's basically exactly Benjamin or what's his name? Shelton Benjamin. He's Shelton Benjamin. He's the same person.
Yeah, I mean,
it's still hilarious.
Son.
And he's like what they call a try hard. He's trying so hard to fit in, and he actually feels like he's fitting in. And everybody, he don't pick up any cues like, no, you're not.
Right, that's true.
So to me, that provides a little bit of some back and forth when it comes to the show.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Let's see here. Like I said, Seth is furious because he doesn't have a wrestling partner. But guess who shows up?
Oh, he just happened to be standing there.
Yeah.
The big dog, Roman Reigns. Even though he wrestled in a match that almost ended his career earlier on in the show between him and Bray Wyatt, took everything out of him to beat Bray Wyatt. He's already showered and got his hair pulled back and ready for this match.
He did walk up looking fresh, didn't he?
Yeah.
He was fresh. He just walked out the shower.
He's like, I was going to the bar here in town, but hey, if you need somebody, I'm all right. I'll be fine. So moving on.
Much in the match, so.
Yeah, for real. Nia says that she's the only person that doesn't fear Asuka in the locker room, and she's the only one that can beat her. And then, in possibly the worst line in the history of wrestling, she says that Asuka is the Empress of tomorrow, but in her opinion, Asuka is the Empress. She'll be the Empress of yesterday. I'm just like, And her delivery, I'm not trying to be offensive here, but her
You
voice,
sexist pig.
yeah, her voice is so annoying to me.
It
And
is kind of.
mhm,
I think so too. I hate it for her. I like her. I like her on the show,
mhm.
but it's just like, man,
I'd like
I
to
don't
see
get the
her
promos, but
what's her name?
Tamina,
No, the other bad one, the other heel.
Alexa.
No, the one that always goes at it with Charlotte.
What?
I don't know.
The girl that
girl that
always goes
goes
at
that
it with
way.
Charlotte. Natalia.
Oh,
It's,
Natalia.
I'd like to see them two team up.
You want them to talk back and forth with each other? That would be really
No,
good.
like team up together.
Oh, tag team?
Yeah.
That is something. Why don't we have any women tag teams?
Tell me about it. Tell me
I mean,
about it. They should have their own title.
I know you got women's Royal Rumble. You got first women's Money in the Bank, first women's Elimination Chamber.
You can't get me
Where's
a
my
tag
first
team.
women's tag team? You can't give me some tag teams?
That's 2019, man. They can't do it all in 1 year.
All right, next.
Talk off. Natty and Nia Jax. We'll put that in the works for you.
Okay, after Mickey's match, Absolution begins to beat her down. This was another match that I really didn't pay a lot of attention to. I fast forwarded through most of it, so I could just see that nothing was really happening that was worth watching. There might have been something on commentary, but I missed it completely. This week, I wasn't a hardcore fan this week, so I feel bad for that. But to me, just some of these matches,
I hate that Paige can't wrestle.
it killed it. It killed a whole cool angle that was coming.
Yep. I hate it. I hate it. Because I was really digging her coming back. I missed her. I hate with all the problems she was going through. And then for this, it just sucks.
So you got Alexis Bliss coming out to make the save for Mickey James, and James is like, "What are you doing?" And obviously Alexis trying to get some people on her side in this match, which is stupid.
That chamber.
I get what she's doing, but in the Royal Rumble and in Elimination Chamber, nobody should be shocked that somebody puts them over. We're not in a tag team match. So you shouldn't look shocked. Seth Rollins shouldn't be like, "Why did you do that?" And Bayley shouldn't be like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe Sasha Banks in the Royal Rumble to determine who's going to be going for the title. She threw me out of the match." So there's that going on. Obviously, she's trying to get some help in the Elimination Chamber. Next week, the losers of the Elimination Chamber will fight for the final spot. You got Finn Balor, Matt Hardy, Bray Wyatt, Apollo Crews. Chance, who is, in your opinion, the favorite in this match next week?
So you got Finn, you got Bray, you got Crews,
Hardy,
and who?
Matt Hardy.
Mm-hmm. Who I want to win would be Finn, just because, like I said, I like him. I think he's more than what they give him credit for, and they were pushing him a little while back, but he kind of stopped. But who I think will win? I'd probably say Bray.
Oh, wow. Shocker.
Chase,
no real reasoning behind that. But.
I'm going Finn.
Yeah, me too. Matt for sure won't. Bray Wyatt is just a little bit higher than the Ascension and people like that. So I don't see him having a shot at this.
Far down now?
Beg your pardon?
Yes, he's that far. He's that far down.
He's gone that far now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Nobody believes in him.
Matt and Bray won't win it because they're going to have their own storyline from this.
Him and Matt. Yeah.
So that's why them two.
I think Apollo Crews will do some pretty cool things in the elimination.
Oh yeah, he will.
In this match
He
right here,
will.
but
He's a great wrestler.
Finn Balor will wind up wrapping it up. Then you have the triple threat match between Braun, Cena, and Elias. Chase, you watched this. You saw the match go down. Can you give us kind of like an idea of how things went in this match right here?
I loved this match, John. I loved it from the beginning when Elias was out there doing his thing. Mm-hmm. I love the way he sits there. He makes no facial expression. He makes no kind of, you know what I mean? Every time he delivers something, it's just like, I'm Elias, and this is what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So that was great. I love that John Cena got the crap kicked out of him by Braun Strowman.
Who was that got kicked out? Crap kicked out of him because you kind of a little bit.
Cena.
Okay.
Cena.
Gotcha.
Even though Cena did get him back and they ate him on the steps, but I thought it was a really good match. It was all over the place, man. If you missed it, it was a good. You need to go back and watch it. It was a good match. And I was extremely surprised on the winner too.
Yeah.
So that took it to another level.
The fact that Cena can AA Braun onto steps does go to show that he could still be just starting. You know, I mean, he's got that.
That is true, man. That is true. The first time, if you didn't watch the match, he tried to do it in the ring, and he collapsed. And Braun took him to the mat, and then he went out there. I'm like, all right, so he's gonna try it again. But then he was like, whoa. Dude just did it.
That's a big old dude.
He is big, man. It was a great match. Chance, did you watch it?
I just watched highlights, which basically
it was awesome.
The AA and then Braun power bombing or whatever you call that movie does to him.
All right, so John, did you see any of it?
No. To be honest, I watched this on DVR. When I got to this match, I fell asleep, even on DVR.
Oh, well, all right. So they're doing their thing, they're wrestling and whatnot, but they finally, it was kind of really funny that Cena and Elias teamed up to take down Braun, and then that way they could kind of get to what they're doing. Mm-hmm. But it took everything, dude, to get Braun down. I mean, they did everything they could, and finally it took Cena and Elias. Elias hits him on the back with his guitar, explodes it. Mm-hmm. And then that's when he AAs him onto the steps. Well, first they throw him through the steps, and then they pick him up. They're fighting. He gives them a guitar to the back, then a AA, and then they roll in there. And somehow or another, I think Elias rolls Cena up, pins him. And then after that, it was just Braun destruction. After that, it was just he beat down both of them.
Did the running powerbomb thing to Cena. And then Elias threw Braun out of the ring somehow and quickly went over and pinned Cena.
Okay, good deal.
Braun lost his mind.
And then Braun came back in and running powerbombed both of them repeatedly.
Good deal. I want to go back over some questions that I had written down that I want to talk to you about. There are things we didn't get to while the match was going on. I really kind of like the flow of it, but I do want to hit some of these before we move on to SmackDown. Chase, what's your opinion of Cedric Alexander? Do you think he's a guy that can kind of transcend just being a little guy and kind of be a star of the cruiserweight division?
I think he will be. He is the star to me of the cruiserweight.
Yeah.
Especially now that what's going on with Enzo. But I think he's a star. I think he could actually, like, if you're talking about transcend the 205, or if he could actually come into the main Raw roster, because he's not much smaller than Vince Balfour. So it's like, why can't he?
You say Finn Balor?
Yeah.
And what I like about the cat is that he has a good look. He's a high flyer, and to me, there's no point in you doing cruiserweight division if you don't have a guy that can do some pretty cool moves. He has a little personality. He checks off all the boxes. Chance, I don't know if you followed him at all, but he was in one of the matches on here. He's in the cruiserweight division, and he's had a lot of roadblocks and speed bumps on the way because of certain things that have happened, including Enzo screwing him out of a title by getting in the trouble that he got into. Do you have an opinion on this guy?
I don't know who he is.
Check him out this week.
I would like to ask while we're talking about 205 guys, what happened to Neville?
Oh, there's a lot of he said bull crap about this situation. So I can't give you an exact answer. I think he felt.
Or would you rather do that in the news section?
We can. Let's still wait till we get to that point. Good thought there. The next thing I wanted to point out to you is this show in SmackDown. They started to increase the amount of squash matches that are in the show. And I guess I'll go ahead and let you know, Chance, the squash match is when you have the star versus no names. They're usually wrestlers from independent wrestling organizations, whatever talent, local talent. Gotcha. And they may be good in that, but they look like little teenagers when they wrestle against the good talent. So, gotcha. Chase, what do you think? Are squash matches good for the show?
Yes and no. I think squash matches are good for the show because it does, like you said, influxes some local talent. So that brings in people to actually come watch the show. Also, I don't understand why we're always feeding them to the lions though. Like, why are we always feeding that local talent to like Braun Strowman or Nia Jax, or they're always the big people and they just go in there and they just beat them down and then it's over. So it's like I don't get, but I don't mind it. I think it's cool.
I think it gives one person wins without giving somebody else a loss. And,
yep.
And for some reason on NXT, you don't have this same vibe. If somebody loses, they're gone. Usually, they both put up a heck of a performance, and you can feel good about them even if they lose. Not on these two main roster shows. You know, when Bray Wyatt loses and he loses and he loses and he loses, it's over with. But I think squash matches are okay as long as you're doing it to promote a talent that needs to be promoted. They did it with Braun Strowman, Nia Jax, and I think the Bludgeon Brothers. They're all examples of people who need to be elevated.
And also, John, I think it might be a thing that they use local talent to get their superstars better in the ring.
Yeah, maybe.
Without taking the risk of hurting another superstar. You hurt a local talent, nobody cares, you know.
Yeah,
but
I mean, they care about hurting him.
2 minutes long. Exactly. How much practice you getting?
Well, I mean, it's not so much practice, but just, you know, filling out the crowd and, you know, just there's little things you have to kind of learn and perfect. And you do it with people like that instead of your big dogs.
Yeah, that's true. As a casual fan, I hate them. I don't care about any of that stuff. I want to see good wrestling, a good match.
I think you got a point there.
That's true.
Yeah. All right. We're going to move on to SmackDown and talk about some of the events that happened here. Chance, we're going to lean more on you for this show because we know that you watched it in a great amount of detail. We start off the show with Shane McMahon, Daniel Bryan, and AJ Styles. All of them eventually wind up in the match, in the ring. Shane's out first to say that he's excited for the main event, but he isn't. And the fans love Shane McMahon. They love Daniel Bryan. But at this point, I think they're so tired of this. They didn't care about it to begin with. And these two haven't done anything to make you care about it. It's more like we're both saying something that each other agrees with, but we keep repeating it over and over again, and the other person's saying that their viewpoint, and then they're saying their viewpoint again, they're saying their viewpoint again. Neither one of them are necessarily wrong, but they just keep saying the same thing over again, and they're not getting the other side's viewpoint. It's almost like Democrats and Republicans, back and forth. Daniel Bryan jokes that he thought he'd get a raise for having Kevin and Sami kill each other. A cool thing about this segment, before we go to you, Chance, and you can kind of talk about your opinion, because I'm pretty sure this was on the Hulu version, is in the middle of this promo, Shane's talking about giving people opportunities, and we hear a chant, the Rusev chant, and Shane gives a duly noted, and that lets you know we're not talking about that right now, but I'm putting that in the back of my head, and we'll think about that in the upcoming days. So they're going back and forth. Nobody cares. Out comes AJ, and I promise you, I wish so bad he would have said, "You're taking up way too much time, and you're taking it off the same people that you talk about wanting to promote. If this is a place and land of opportunity, which you call it is, then you need to get the heck out of the ring and quit dedicating 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes of the show toward your little squabble. Nobody cares." But we don't see that. I'm gonna have to step out one more time. Chance, can you talk about this? And then Chase, if you have an opinion, you can step forward. Go ahead, Chance.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the first thing I noticed when SmackDown started. I was like, this is what we've been talking about, Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan kind of trying to steal the spotlight on SmackDown.
I think you could actually feel it with the fans too, Chance. You know what I mean? It didn't seem that Shane had the same pizzazz or Daniel Bryan had the same reaction that they normally get. It seemed like it was kind of lackluster on that.
Yeah, they didn't have a lot of enthusiasm behind what they were saying. Like Kurt Angle, when he announced that Elimination Chamber match, he was at least enthusiastic about it when he actually finally got the words out. But Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan are just, like they're
reading cue cards.
Their truck or something.
Yeah, it's like you got to tell me what I'm going to say. Like I don't really care to do this. It's like somebody else is making them do it, but I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was weird. It was kind of awkward in that regard because they're both. Neither one of them was really that enthusiastic about what they were saying. They were just, like John said, just saying it to reiterate what they've been saying. But yeah, I'm over it. I couldn't care less about.
It's like you suck at your job, and that's just basically all they're saying.
Yeah, I did like the Rusev Day chant because I'm liking Rusev now too. I was upset that he lost, but I like that Shane said duly noted. I hope they do something with that.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're going to move on to the next section. I'm going to kind of highlight some of the things that are on this show right here. Wasn't a great show, I don't feel.
Nope.
So I'm going to hit the highlights. Charlotte is in a match at some point, and I think her intention here is to take on all three members of
that's what the Riot. Like.
Yeah, the Riot Squad.
After the match, she said 1 down, 2 to go, or something to that effect.
Mm-hmm. So she defeats Liv Morgan tonight. I'm sure she'll defeat, I think it's Sarah Logan. I think she's the next up, and then she'll probably finish with Ruby Riott on an upcoming episode of SmackDown. But actually, I forgot to mention this. AJ comes out and basically says that he wants Shane and Daniel to stay out of his way, especially in tonight's match. Oh, I did want to bring up one thing, too, that it's kind of like one of those things in wrestling you just have to really overlook. When they come out and talk about how we're going to restart this match or we're going to do something because something happened in the match that was wrong. Well, almost every match in wrestling has something about it that goes wrong. And you don't see Chance and Daniel Bryan coming out to fix any of these problems. They're only coming out, besides that one time for the Shelton Benjamin and Gable. For the most part, the only matches they're correcting is the main event matches. So it feels weird to be like, yeah, I know we just watched 3 matches in a convoluted fashion, but the only thing we care about is the main one.
Yes, to me, it's kind of like like professional sports, professional baseball, basketball. When if a ref misses a foul or something, they're not going to replay the whole freaking game for one missed call.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just let it roll. I mean, with the Sami Zayn issue, I get that because it was kind of blatantly obvious, but at the same time, AJ Styles would have won the match regardless. So,
yeah. Chase, you got anything to add to this, Chase, besides what you shared a few minutes ago?
Nah, my thing on the SmackDown is I mean, I did like what they decided to do, a triple threat match. I think I might have told that to you earlier. That was probably the best move they've made in 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks with this Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, AJ Styles feud they've had going on. So I like the triple threat match. Finally.
My only problem with it is the same thing happens on Raw, where you see, like, let's say you have two tag teams. The Bar and Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose were classic examples of this. This week, Seth Rollins is going to wrestle Sheamus. Next week, Dean Ambrose is going to wrestle Cesaro. Next week, Seth Rollins is going to wrestle Cesaro. Next week, Dean Ambrose is going to wrestle. And you're like, oh my! And then when you finally see them in an actual match together, you hate it because you've already seen it. And this is a case where I don't give a crap what happens in this match. It means zero. It's not an exciting match to me, like Elimination Chamber. It's just, it could have been the main event of SmackDown, and it would be the same to me. It's just a throw-in match.
Well, I think you could kind of tell that too with AJ when he came out. He seemed a little disgusted with that. This is still going on, you know. So I'm hoping that this squashes it.
Before I can get somebody else.
But then you got to think, who's he gonna fight? Who else is there to fight, John?
Oh my Lord! Wow, yeah, it's such a bad roster right now.
Who's he gonna fight, man? Randy Orton?
Nobody cares about that.
Jinder? We bringing Jinder back up? I mean, it's like there's nobody else for him to wrestle, so that's why they're doing it.
All you got is the Shinsuke match, but there's no real storyline they're going to build around this. It's just the fact that it's a really cool match to see. There's no drama here as a storyline that you can progress every single week.
I will say that they're doing a good job with the Shinsuke. You know, he's not wrestling. And it's kind of like they're building up a big build-up. You know, we're not going to see it 4 times. Hopefully, we don't see it 4 different times before it matters.
Yeah.
You know, they're putting in tag team matches.
Triple threat. I like it because it's something different than what they've been doing with those 3. But at the same time, I hate it because I feel like I already know the outcome is going to be Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens get into it and AJ cleans up.
That's going to happen. But again, what else is he going to do?
Yeah. Wow. I mean, you just said a whole lot right there, Chase, because man, this roster is so depleted, and it's WWE's fault. They have so much talent on the other side on Raw, and they need it because they have 3 hours to try to figure out. But how many pieces are on the sidelines while Reigns wrestles in 2 matches? Are the same people wrestle in matches every single week?
It's like you telling me you couldn't bring.
They could. I mean, they got Rude and Rusev, who both, which I guess Rude's got the American Championship, so he can't.
U.S. Yeah.
Yeah, U.S. But I mean, they got Rude and Rusev that can both fight AJ for the title.
If you did your job, Rusev would be a main event player right now.
Yes.
Yep. I mean, you got English just being his backup partner.
Butler.
Let him wrestle.
He's like his butler.
Yeah, it's like daggum.
Well, I've always
Tyler
been
Breeze out there. I like what they did with the Ascension, though. At least they're bringing them back out there. Let some other people fight.
I've always been a believer of you take 4 or 5 guys and you make them the guys. You don't have to have one guy on the top. That is it. Right. Because what that does is it helps you out later on down the road. When somebody gets hurt, you got somebody else to step in. You can't do this bullcrap of like Samoa Joe, who looks hot for a week, and then he wrestles Brock Lesnar and loses the 1F5 ball game, and now you go way down the pecking order.
Where did he go? Does he still alive?
He got hurt.
Yeah,
no, he got hurt.
He got injured.
But that don't bother me, John, when you lose to Brock Lesnar. You know, now if he'd have lost to like Bray Wyatt, or something like that, then it would have been kind of demoralizing. But you talk about the supposed to be the baddest dude in the planet, so That I'm okay with, but their roster is just depleted, man. It sucks.
Do they not? Do they not allow a title holder face another title holder to where they could have one person with 2 titles?
They've done it before.
They've done it before. I mean, it'll eventually happen again, I'm sure.
But what you don't want to happen is one person sucking up 2 potential storylines by having 2 belts.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to some highlights of this show because I really don't want to follow, go match by match as far as the breakdown of the show. I got Charlotte defeating Liv Morgan, the Bludgeon Brothers. We talked about earlier. They defeated some jobbers. Bobby Roode defeated Rusev to retain the U.S. title. I do want to stop here in this match. Me and Chase were talking about this earlier today about the character of Rusev, and we talked last week about the potential of Rusev being a babyface, which means that they're a good guy. And he acts like a babyface. He's looking at the crowd, pumping his head because he wants them to cheer for him. But then we have Aiden English come out tonight. He talks about how the city's garbage. And that's the first thing you say when you're trying to be a bad guy. You talk bad about the city. So he's setting everything up for Rusev to be booed. And the other thing going against Rusev here is he's fighting against another babyface. You don't have babyfaces versus babyface too often.
I said that last week.
Yeah. So
that's when they were going to kill it.
There's back and forth. Rusev loses. Rude wins in a pretty decent match. I said last week that Rusev has pretty much everything you can look for in an athlete. I mean, in a WWE superstar. I will say one thing, and think back, Chase, since you watched this show a little bit more religiously than Chance. What's the last good Rusev match?
Cena.
Yep. So you're talking about a long time ago.
Wait. I take that back. I can't say the last one with Cena because that was the flag match and that was awful. But before that,
ask him.
Yeah, I asked him that was awful too. Yeah, the Do You Quit match was awful. But before that,
because they haven't given him good matches to wrestle in.
Yes,
that's true.
It's not because he hasn't been good in the ones he's
been getting squashed, man.
They just put him with
he was a stepping stone.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I mean, I thought the one with Rude, I thought it was a pretty good match. They had a lot of back and forth going, and the crowd at one time was chanting, "This is awesome," which is like, to me, that's like the best chant you could get for a match.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it was to that caliber, but I mean, it was.
I knew what was going to happen though. When it came to be that Rusev was going to be fighting Rude for the belt, I knew what was going to happen. They were going to try to make him heel again.
Mm-hmm.
Because Rude is the face. Which, though, John, I will say I have noticed that in that match, there wasn't as much enthusiasm towards Rude than there was towards Rusev.
Right.
So hopefully they noticed that too.
Yeah, maybe that's why they did it, to see which one they like more. That.
Well, Rude, in his career, traditionally has been a bad guy. And that's when he's been most successful in his previous stops. In NXT, he was a bad guy that had a cool entrance. But once he comes to WWE, his entrance is so cool and so popular, they pushed him as a good guy, babyface. And that's not his strength. I don't think after the bell rings and his entrance is over with, he looks to me like he's a high school PE coach or something like that. He doesn't look, he doesn't exude charisma like you would say a Rusev does.
Yeah,
you can look at Rusev and he can give you 1,000 emotions just by looking at his face, which was really cool for him. I do want to talk about the very, very important SmackDown Top 10. These are voted on by the wrestlers in the locker room, so you know that they're legit.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Number 10, Ty Dillinger. The only reason why he's number 10 is because he's 10. That's the only reason why. That first one lets you know that these are just bull crap right off the gate.
Yeah.
Next, you have Randy Orton. He is number 9. Becky Lynch is number 8. I could see her being on this list. And really, what's the standard here? Is it who people like, which is what I'm going to go by, because it's not about what they've accomplished. Because
Randy would be at the top.
Orton would be number 1.
Yep. Number 4, you have Usos, the tag team champions. And I didn't mention them in the recap. We can go back and talk to them about what they're doing. They're basically saying, here's a mic. Go out there. You won't have anybody to talk about, but you just get a promo. And like, okay, we'll do it. Yep. We're not setting anything up. We're just talking about ourselves. And
we're not setting anything up because we don't have nobody to set you up with.
Yep. Well, they kind of started setting up something with them, with Bludgeon Brothers, and they walked out right as that match ended, and kind of.
They've been doing that. Yep, they've been doing that last couple of weeks. I'm hoping
that something happens there because they need to do something with the Bludgeon Brothers besides giving those guys local talent to destroy.
All right, back to the list.
John,
7? My list here for some reason is 1 through 10, and it was reverse of this. Next, we have the New Day, and right out the gate right there, if we're talking about what they've accomplished in the ring, that'd be wrong. The New Days have just been
lately, though,
the true definition. They're characters. They're not wrestlers. They're just, look what we did. We just got pancakes. Get off the TV. I hate what they're doing right now. Bobby Roode, who's the U.S. champion, is next. Naomi is number 4, I believe. Bobby Roode 5, Naomi 4. Number 3 is Shinsuke Nakamura. Number 2 is Charlotte Flair, and number 1 is AJ Styles. I'll give you AJ Styles all day long. I think he's probably a good person to have in the locker room, and most people are going to be looking up to him. But there's a lot of names missing from this list. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Rusev. I don't know why they're not on this list because they got to be buddies with people backstage, which makes a list like this stupid because in reality you have to have good guys and bad guys and they can't be friends. And coincidentally, all of these are good guys. Chase.
Yeah.
So, John, you mentioned this to me earlier and asked my son Braxton to pull together a list on his just top 5. We went top 5.
Yeah.
And all right, we'll start at 5. Charlotte. He's got Charlotte, number 5.
Okay, that's good.
Was Charlotte on that list at all?
Yeah, she's number 2.
2? Okay. I didn't hear that. So you got Charlotte. You got Kevin Owens, which he wasn't on the list.
Yeah.
And he's got Shane McMahon, which I guess that's a part of the SmackDown brand. So he's got Shane McMahon, number 3. And he's got the Usos, number 2.
Who was number 4?
AJ Styles. 4 was Kevin Owens.
I missed it.
So he's got a good heel and face, going.
Ratio.
So, there's that. But, yeah, I mean, if you look at, that's why you told me to ask him as just a fan.
Yeah.
Or who was voting on this, fans or locker room people. I think it was just I don't even get it, to be honest with you. It makes no sense to me, but whatever. Put it in there. You got to fill some time, I guess, because we don't have any wrestlers.
They should give us more details on what they actually voted for. Was it who they liked the most, who they thought the best wrestler is at that particular moment, or what? I mean, just saying the top 10 from out of nowhere. No pun intended there. It's kind of ambiguous.
So the talk is, I heard Brian say one time that they're going to use this list to decide what they're going to do booking wise, who's going to be in certain matches. But it's still the frame of reference. If you walked up to a wrestler and said, "Give me your top 10 on the show right now," they're all going to have different feelings on that. So I don't know how well that comes through. as a little side note here, we got thoughts on the Ascension. When I watched this match, I was like, oh, I know they're going to lose this match, but I really like what I see. What do you think about the Ascension in their match with Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin, Chase?
I thought it was all right. I like Benjamin and Gable. I like them. They're good wrestlers, and I've always thought the Ascension were good. They just were always beat down. They were stepping stones.
Yep.
I don't have a problem with them. I think they're good wrestlers. They put on a good show, and that's what you're there for. That's what you're there to see. It's a good show. What about you, Chance?
I hate the Ascension. I think their outfits are ridiculous. The skirts or whatever you want to call it they have, stupid. The face paint, just stupid. Just not done good. One dude's just fat blob, and one dude's just like skin and bones. I mean,
now you got to take that back. He is not a fat blob.
That is a fat blob.
I'd rather see him wrestle than the guy from Revival.
Yes, 1,000 times. Yes.
I can get out there. I look better. I look better than the dude on Revival.
I don't even know who
the dude with the mutton chops. The mutton chops.
Yeah, he's like jiggling every time he punches.
Every time it's a jiggle. Well, go look it up.
I don't know who that is, but I don't like them. I mean, I agree with you that it was a good match, but I just don't like their characters.
Yeah, I think they could take the.
Go ahead, Chase.
Go ahead, John. All right, I'll go. I think they could get rid of the face paint. That they could get rid of that. They could change their image maybe, and they could be something different. But the Road Warrior face paint, I could take it or leave it.
I like the whole gimmick, and what I would like to see on SmackDown and on these other shows is the bottom of the barrel. The teams like SmackDown and the teams like Breezango. I want to see a different level of storyline. They're all competing with each other. They all have their thing going on, and that's okay. Because then you got the top level, which is
and then you can still have compelling matches between two crappy people.
Yeah. If I like the Ascension, and I'm a kind of fan of wrestling where I can kind of overlook the fact that they're going to lose. Some people can't watch the show and be like, who are these losers? They're going to lose. I know they'll lose.
This chance.
Yeah. So that's my take on that situation.
Like I said, I don't care if they lose, if they give me a good match and they're giving me a good show.
It was a good match. It was entertaining. Don't get me wrong, but yeah. I guess it is.
Fat blob.
All right, we're gonna transition to talking about the mixed match challenge. I'm gonna be honest and going against everything that I've said in these first two podcasts about how I'm a hardcore fan. I hadn't watched the mixed match challenge. These last couple of weeks have just been filled with other things, work getting out of hand, and there's way too much content. This WWE, you can only watch so much.
Yep.
And before the wife's like, look, are you married to me or are you married to the show? And you got kids, you got work, you got your wife, you got
I'm not Ric
parents. There's just so much pulling on you as an individual. And guess what? Mixed match challenge loses out. But Chase, I want you to kind of break down. I don't know if you have it in front of you, the winners and the losers so far in this, and what kind of matches we've had. Do you have that in front of you?
No, I don't have the winners and losers. I can kind of go by what I've seen.
Okay.
I know that the Miz and Asuka won their match, which I think that was with. I can't really remember. I don't know if that was with Carmella and Big E, maybe.
Right.
I can't remember, but I know that Miz won. Miz and Asuka won, and then the first one was. I want to say. Oh man, I can't remember. I watched the first one, and that was all I watched because the action. I like that it's mixed match because I like that it's got men and women tag teaming. That's kind of cool, but the momentum dies once somebody gets tagged, and that's where I'm kind of like it just kind of kills the match. So like you got somebody going at it, and then all of a sudden a tag goes. Well, now I got to wait for that person to roll out of the ring, bring in the woman, or vice versa, bring in the man. Let me see that back. What is that, John?
Is it up on the screen right now?
Yeah, you got all right. Banks and Baylor, they beat Shinsuke.
And Natalia. I know Balor and Banks won that.
Yeah, the Miz, they won, which was against Big E and Carmella. I got that right. And I think that's all that has.
Oh,
I think the next one is going to be.
No, they've already.
The next one's going to be Strowman.
They've already wrestled. You got Strowman and Bliss versus Zayn and Lynch. The Strowman and Bliss won this match.
Yep.
Goldust and Alicia Fox and Uso and Naomi. They both they've all wrestled, and whoever the Uso was and Naomi won that one. The ones that are left is Elias and Bailey, Rusev and Lana, Cruz and Nia, and Rude and Flair. I heard Fox got hurt. I guess she got hurt in this match. Yeah, but she was practicing for the Royal Rumble match and broke her tailbone, so they had to put somebody else in there. And I can't remember who it was. I had to take her spots. Do some thinking about that.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. I like it, but I don't like it. It's weird. But like you're saying, it mainly comes down to what you said, John. There's just too much content. You're talking NXT. You're talking SmackDown, Raw, 205. And then you want to throw in a mixed match challenge. I think it's a certain group that they're trying to go for. I just don't know what it is.
I think they would do better if mixed match challenge was during Raw and SmackDown.
That would be good, Chance. But you can't keep the same storyline going with these characters if you do that. That's a good. I like that.
Time to fill it in there,
but you tear down the character whenever you do it on the live show.
I got you.
The only thing you can really say is, if you look at it this way, the WWE doesn't expect you to watch everything, but they're going to give you a whole lot to choose from.
Yeah.
And if you take that attitude, you can probably say, all right, well, this is kind of cool. If I'm into the cruiserweights, I can watch it. If I like Raw, I can watch it. Like SmackDown, I can watch it. If I'm interested, like Chance is, in seeing something different and unique, then you can turn that on. Chance, have you watched some of this? Because remember last week you talked about how you like the whole concept of women and men wrestling together.
I haven't watched any of it just because I didn't know really what it was. Like I seen them promo it a little bit in the main shows, but I didn't really understand. I figured it was wrestling at some point, but I just kind of figured it would come on the show. I didn't know it was going to be a whole separate, TV show basically. So I haven't seen it yet.
Ratings have been horrible on first view. Now later on, you might get 1 to 2 million people checking it out, but when it shows, it's in the hundreds of thousands. The first thing that killed it, in my opinion, as far as rating goes, it's just hard to. It's not a simple process of trying to figure out where it actually appears. And if you said, "Hey, on Tuesday night on Netflix, turn to Netflix, look at the top of your screen, you'll see it." Everybody in America could do that. Or if you say Hulu, but if you say Facebook Watch, I don't know where that is. What I basically did is I just typed in WWE Mixed Match Challenge into Facebook and I found it. But that's why I think they can thrive on platforms like Netflix and Hulu, but you can't thrive when nobody knows how to access it and you don't do a very good job. You need to hit me over the head with how to find that.
They didn't publicize it really.
Yep.
Or if they did, I didn't realize that was what they were publicizing.
That's what I say. I think they're trying to go for different crowds. You're talking about Facebook.
Sure.
You're trying to get somebody on Facebook that's on Facebook all the time.
All right, guys, we're going to move on to news and look forward to the next week. Actually, nope, check that. Winners and losers from the week. This part of the show is designed for us to look back at Raw, SmackDown, and if there's a special event like Royal Rumble or Elimination Chamber, and talk about who we thought won the week and who we thought lost the week. Chase, last week, if you watched the podcast, He went way too deep into this. He had like 4 winners for Royal Rumble, and we didn't cut him off. He was going to have one,
I'd have had 30
one
people
for every match and a loser for every match. So all we want is a winner for the week and a loser for the week.
That's hard though, John.
It's not very hard, man. It's two shows.
It's not as hard when there's not a pay-per-view.
There you go.
Yeah,
Chase, I'm going to let you go first, and then we'll move on to Chance. Chase, I want to hear your winner and your loser and why.
Okay, I'm gonna start with the bad news first. I'm gonna say my loser is Jason Jordan.
Okay.
He's my loser because of the neck injury.
Yeah.
Not because of his character, but because it just what they were trying to do. It's kind of like what happens with Seth Rollins when they were building such a great storyline, and then, bam, something bad happens. So that's the only reason I'm putting him on my loser board today, is because I hate that for him.
Yeah.
My winner is Elias. That's my winner of the week. Is because just coming out of nowhere, dude, come out of nowhere. This guy went from playing the guitar and being booed out of that place that people were like, who is this guy? Where did he come from? What is going on? To going into the Elimination Chamber and now winning a triple threat match with Cena and Braun Strowman. If you said, hey, I'm going to give you Braun Strowman, Cena, and Elias, who you think is going to win? You would never in a million times said Elias.
Nope. He's taking the pin every time. He's taking a pin.
Oh, he's taking a pin, but he's there. I can't. I love it. I love it.
I love that they did that. And he's really a lot bigger in the match that I was watching when I was watching those highlights. He's a lot bigger than I thought he was.
He's a big dude, man.
Yeah.
Chance.
All right, Chance, what's yours?
Winner and loser for the week.
I got obvious winner, Elias. I'm not gonna pick him, but yeah, I agree with that, obviously.
Me too. I gotta come up with somebody different now.
Yeah. Winners are Gable and Shelton Benjamin.
Yes.
Okay.
I thought they had a really good showing this week. I like their characters. I like their no nonsense type of deal when everybody else is a bunch of nonsense. I dig it. I got 2 losers. First loser is those teenagers that the Bludgeon Brothers beat up. That was just sad to watch, really. It was like 2 rag dolls thrown in there.
It was, man.
It was bad.
Yeah.
I felt bad for those kids. Felt bad for those 10-year-olds. And Randy Orton is my other loser because he's got to get rid of that stupid sleeveless hoodie. That thing just makes him look like a dork. He needs to get rid of it. That's all I got.
Okay. For me, I had to change up my pick, and I actually feel better about this pick than the one I originally went with, Elias, which is very good. I'm going to go with Bailey because she hasn't looked good in a very long time. She hasn't been getting the kind of vibe that you want to get, but I feel like she's turned it around with this episode of Raw. She had the really cool line that kind of made the crowd kind of go, whoa. And then she came in and wrestled a great match against Asuka. And I think she's kind of finding her own. A lot of people said you can't do Bailey wrong on the main roster. She's perfect. She's made to come out there and be like the female version of John Cena. I thought she was too silly acting and to get across on the main roster. And I want to hug everybody and no, we're not.
I'm a hugger.
You have to be able to display an edge, and there's no way her character, the way it was presented to start off with, could show an edge. But this episode, you saw it sneak in. You know, Sasha Banks is going to bring it. Asuka's going to bring it, but we saw a little bit out of Bailey that we need to see as like a further defining of her character. My loser, Rusev. Because again, every time we see the door opens for Rusev to sneak in, and everybody loves him. Like John Cena versus Rusev. Even though Rusev was booed, we were like, hey, this guy has a chance to do something big.
Yep.
Every time that he's had an opportunity, this has happened. Yes, we build up somebody just enough so that when somebody else beats them, it's supposed to be a big deal. It's the Bray Wyatt treatment, where he might win a couple of matches every now and then, get on Raw just to try to even things out. But we know he's only being built up to push somebody else. Yeah. Yep. And I think he's got enough inside him to do something better than what he's doing. I think he's a great actor. I think he's pretty good in the ring. Maybe not the best, maybe like an AJ Styles or half the roster, but he's close enough to that. And he has
he's no different than Roman Reigns to me.
Yeah.
Like what he does, what he can do in the ring.
And he connects. Roman Reigns has the look, but when you look in his eyes, you don't see the same thing that you see in Rusev. So that is my loser for this week, unfortunately, because I really like the guy. News for the week. Triple H, as Chase alluded to earlier, he's supposed to be assuming more power on the shows. And I feel like this is only good news. Vince McMahon for years and years and years has been really good to wrestling. I think he's lost that over the years. I think the show's becoming too brand-oriented by saying words like, I don't know if we said it on the podcast, Chance, but you brought it up earlier about the word opportunity said over and over again. They plug these words to death. And the thing like the women doing the first ever this, and the first ever that, and the first ever this, and the first ever that. Look, it becomes to the point to where it's kind of patronizing. And instead of rewarding the Sasha Banks and the Asukas for them being a very good wrestler, it's all about some other historical thing. And that kind of loses power. That's all Vince. That's all trying to make somebody else happy. And besides, instead of putting on a good show, Triple H, if you watch NXT, tends to put on a better show. And he's the guy that's in control of it. And if you watch the show, a lot of guys that come up you think can't miss, and they come up and they're horrible on the show because of the direction which they get there. He's taken over. Jason Jordan, they said the past couple of weeks he's had a hard time grabbing things, which is not good when you're a wrestler and you're trying to grab somebody else and protect their life. He's having minimally invasive surgery to his back, which I don't get how it can be a small surgery when you're messing around with your back.
I think he'll be out for a while.
You think he might be done?
Oh, when you talk about the back, you never know.
It's a good question.
I hate it because I think the dude has a bright future, which kind of leads into our next session. Maybe I was naive in the Attitude Era. Maybe I was naive as a child and I didn't know about the big picture because they didn't talk about it every week. And you didn't have a guy like Dave Meltzer or all these podcasts. Hey, guess what? Somebody else is injured. They just disappeared and we didn't talk about them until they were ready to come back. But here's your list of current wrestlers just on Raw that are out right now or severely hurt or they're not particularly wrestling. This is your injury. Big Cass, Jeff Hardy, The Big Show, R-Truth, Noam Dar, he's a cruiserweight, Paige, Dean Ambrose, Alicia Fox, the Brian Kendrick, another cruiserweight, and now Jason Jordan. This is insane. I just don't remember. Maybe, like I said, I glossed over it and I wasn't thinking about what was really happening in front of me. I don't remember this many injuries, and it's got to be the type of wrestling style that they do. Chase, you got an opinion on that? Are we seeing this because we're looking more closely at it? Are we seeing this because of the style of wrestling, which is more about what we call bumps, which is cool moves as opposed to two people going in there and telling a story and maybe doing some cool moves? You go back to Bret Hart and Stone Cold, there wasn't a whole lot of high flying. They punched each other, they dived each other, and sure, they had injuries, but they didn't try to kill themselves in the ring, and their matches were just as good. Go ahead, Chase.
Well, I mean, some of the injuries that they had back in the Attitude Era were injuries that were done from other wrestler
Hmm.
inflictions. A lot of the stuff now, I feel like, is self-inflicted.
Good point.
Uh, so I think there's a lot of stress on the top tier wrestler.
Hmm.
If you notice, it's the top tier wrestler that's getting hurt,
Yep.
not the jobber, not the dude that's doing the house shows, not the dude that's it's the main character people that are getting hurt. And I don't know if it's because it's overuse or like what you're
Hmm.
saying is they're having to give the high end move instead of the neck lock or the you know what I mean. Tell a
Hmm.
story.
Yep.
You don't have to give me five F5s to
Hmm.
tell a story. So it could be a little of both.
Chance, what do you think, bud?
It's out of my realm of expertise, man.
I got some homework for you. You've watched a lot of these recent matches. I want you to go back and look on YouTube. Bret Hart versus Stone Cold, WrestleMania 13, and you'll see a match that a whole lot happens in it, but nobody got injured in this match. I asked somebody online about this that I respect. His name is Sean Ross Sapp. He's Fightful.com, and asked him about this idea of if I just didn't pay attention to these kind of things. And he said, back in the day, guys were just roided up and they took painkillers.
That's
There's a
true.
story of Kurt Angle like tearing both of his quads, ripping his Achilles tendons. Like he went backstage and he pulled his pants down and his whole leg, they both were black because of their bruising and because something was tore and he wasn't feeling it. So because
Wow.
he was doped up. And so they hid behind that kind of thing. And back then, if you got hurt, then you fell way behind. So
You
you would
yeah, you're
fight.
done.
You were fight through injuries as much as you could. So there's probably a lot to it. They were on steroids and painkillers, and they just fought through it. A lot of
Yeah, and that's
wrestlers
another
died
thing.
early.
If you're on steroids too, John, it helps get your body back. So like if you could have a major injury and they're trying to steer away from them nowadays, not using steroids to
Hmm.
help their bodies, that could be why we're also seeing bodies that aren't as like they used to be. Like we're
Yeah.
talking about Kevin Owens or the guy from Revival or even Mojo, even though he's a big dude, he's still kind of flat, kind of
Hmm.
jiggly. That
Yep.
that is probably why we're seeing those kind of bodies instead of the bodies that you're used to seeing back in the day.
All right. Well, that's about going to wrap us up with this show right here. Thought it was pretty good. I think we went into a couple of good points. We were missing somebody, missing Chad. And we look
Yep.
forward to having him back. We're going to miss you, Chase, though. So we'll be sure to talk bad about you the entire episode.
I bet you will. I'll
Uh-huh.
try to hit you up. I might, if there's a way that I can come into the show while y'all are doing it, I might
Uh-huh.
try to like come in, but we'll see. We'll see what happens if my wife allows me while I'm in Orlando.
So next week, the show is going to be on the 15th. We will get started at 9:30 Central. And we encourage you, just because it helps us out, please like, subscribe. Even if you don't care about wrestling, you just care about us, like and subscribe because that pushes the word a lot more than what it currently is. Chance, do you have any final thoughts you want to share with us?
Yeah, I do actually. I
Go
do
ahead,
actually.
bud. The floor is yours. Tell,
Mm.
tell us about this new book coming out about the tooth fairy.
When I was little, I had a tooth that
Uh-huh.
I put under my pillow. I didn't tell my parents. It was the first time I
Mm,
didn't tell my parents.
son of a.
And I woke up the next morning and my tooth was still there. And I did this for like 2 or 3 days just to see if maybe the tooth fairy missed me on an accident or whatever. And then I went and told my mom. I said, "Mom, I'm putting this tooth under my pillow and the tooth fairy ain't come and got it yet." She said, "Well, maybe she just forgot." And I said, "I did it 2 or 3 nights." And she said, "Well, I'll tell her." or something like that. And I was like, yeah, the jig is up. That's
Jig is
basically
up.
that's basically the gist of that book. But
I can't wait to read
elaborated.
it.
That's a good storyline. I like that.
Yeah.
But my final thoughts are that either Charlotte needs to never do a spear again, or whoever took that spear, Liv, needs to get better at taking it, because it just looked really awkward when she got a spear there.
Mhm.
I think it was a little of both. That's the person that she hasn't wrestled with a lot and hasn't
Yeah,
really
that's
done
true.
a lot of wrestling. So I think that was a little bit of miscommunication or didn't really know how to take it.
Yeah, could have been. It looked a little awkward. And I love the Usos, but I could do a little less screaming, a little more just talking, which I get. I mean, I
Yeah.
understand that's kind of what they do, but
Well, yeah, that's their character. I got
yeah,
something for you, John. Just a little plug before we leave and something y'all can chew on before next week. My thing is Asuka moving to SmackDown. That's all I'm going to say.
I like that idea.
Mhm.
So take that and see what you think.
All right. Well, the only thing I'd want to do right now would be humanly possible is I like to reach to the screen and give both of you an RKO out of nowhere at this point, and just in the like that we go off, everybody be on the ground
End it
except for
like
me,
that.
and I'd be like doing the pose, and then like that's it, it's over with. But since I can't do that, I want to thank you guys who watched this on the after it's recorded. It'll be available probably sometime the next day because it has to load up on YouTube. Please watch it. Please like it. Please subscribe. Please share. And until next time we are out.
Out.